Hi everyone, I'm Sebi, aka TechSev, and welcome to the Playalong Builder. This is a beta that I've been working on for a little while now. It's in a work in progress and things will change, but feel free to start using it and creating your own episodes. And reach out to me if you have any questions on our Discord server, and if you post your episodes there, maybe we'll get added to the main site. So the first step to do is to pick a YouTube video that you want to create an episode out of. Most likely, you're going to find a lot better content using things that are trivia based or game show based. So I'm using for an example an episode of Dirty Laundry from the Dropout YouTube channel. So I just take the YouTube link and I place it here and click next. Next, it will try to auto crawl the YouTube page to get as much information as they can from the title, so you don't have to fill it in. But if you want to change anything here, you know, the video title, the show or series name. So in this case, I usually put Dirty Laundry as the show or series name. So I'll just do that here. The creator name and the creator learn more link. There, as you're playing a play along, there will see a learn more link on the devices or as a QR code. This can be the YouTube channel if that's all the creator has, or maybe their link tree or Twitch profile, whichever one is the most relevant. And once you have that, you click on next. And step 3 is the actual building of the prompts. So the way I've laid this out is on the left is all the available prompts that you added to the particular episode, as well as the results for each of the prompts. When I say a prompt, it can be a multiple choice question, a text question, a number based question, and we'll go through all the different kinds of questions shortly. But it gives you control of the placement in order in the timeline. The other thing you'll see underneath most of the prompts is the results time. Predominantly, you'll have your results time, you know, showing the result of the prompt or the answer to the prompt right after your actual prompt. So you'll ask a question like, you know, who is the King of France? And you'll have your prompt asking the question, and then right after that in the timeline, it would be the actual results. But sometimes you may not want your your results to appear right after your prompt. So something like if you're at the beginning of your episode, you're asking your players to call a shot and say who's going to win this episode. You're going to want to have the results to that particular prompt at the end, so you will be able to control them both. That's why they're separated into the timeline. Let's just go over the controls. Up here we have the question and results prompt. That's what I was just referring to. There's a music tab. The music tab we'll get into a little later, but this allows you to control or set the music that will be playing when you're waiting to start a game, as well as the music that is playing when you are pausing and waiting for a prompt for people to enter a prompt. So it can be multiple different sources. It can be no music if you choose. It could be a section of the current video that you have for this prompt. So for example, if there's a theme song that plays at the end of the episode or the end of the video, you can kind of use, and then during the credits, you can use the credits part as the sound that you want to have play while you're pausing and waiting for the game to start, or when you're on a prompt. And then other YouTube video, you know, you put in the URL of another YouTube video that you want to use as your music. So sometimes we'll have, you know, a creator will use an open or free, copyright free song on YouTube. You can find that song and put it in there and kind of match it to the style, or you can put whatever you want. It's really up to you. For now, we're just going to leave it to no music. We'll come back to this after. And then video details is what we saw a little earlier. If you made a mistake about how you want the title or the series name, the creator name, or the more link, you can go back and change it here. So other things you'll see is down here is the back button, brings you back to the other sections if you want to change the URL. Import will let you import the JSON file. It's basically like a text file that it gets saved out when you hit the export button. So at any time you can hit export and be able to save your file or send it to somebody else. It's basically just all the information saved into a JSON file. So you can export it, save a copy of it, open it in a different browser, import it, make changes if you need to. and so on. Right now, we auto save everything that you're doing. So as you're working, if you come back to this, as long as you're using the same browser and you don't clear your cache, this will your information will stay. So every time you make any change, it automatically saves it. But it's an extra way to have an extra backup. Start over is basically going to clear the save that you have and bring you back to the first prompt where you're asked to put in the URL of the YouTube video, and then play episode will take the saved backup or the saved cache version that's on this browser and run it through as an episode for you to actually try it out. It's really useful to be able to go through an actual episode to see, oh, my timing's a little bit wrong on my prompts, or oops, I forgot to put in the actual answer to this question, or I made a typo. A quick way of doing it. Another way you can do it is to export out the episode, and then in the normal Playalong website, there is an option to hit import, and it'll let you import the JSON file and play it. So two different ways, but this one here is like to debug your current episode. Let's start off with creating a prompt. So I'm gonna go back up here. You'll notice that the episode start time is here. These buttons up here are pretty self-explanatory, but for the most part, this will delete the current prompt that you're looking at. This will duplicate the current prompt. This will jump you to the result and prompt back and forth between the two, and this will bring you to the actual in the video itself will bring you to that point in the prompt. So we'll go over that in a little bit, and you'll see that each one has a little bit, sometimes show some and sometimes they don't. So all right, so the first thing that we need to do to actually create an episode is to start the video. It seems simple, but you actually have to kind of get past the start screen. So you click on that, and you can pause it right away. And then you'll have your timeline. You'll notice just below the timeline, there's some new buttons that you can interact with. There are the back 5 seconds, the back 1 second, forward 1 second, and forward 5 seconds. This is just to help you kind of quickly scrub through the videos and kind of align your timing. The prompts in Playalong are tied to the second marker, so it kind of rounds down. So sometimes your timing has to be kind of specific if you want to have it stop before the player says the answer, but after maybe a host says the question. So make sure that you kind of toggle through with the buttons and click play to see if you are where you want it to be. Subtitles are really, really helpful. You can kind of tell where they are in their speech by what's on the screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of just use a normal YouTube kind of preview to kind of find the first question. Who participated in a four-way kiss? In this particular instance, it would be a multiple choice. There's 4 members on the couch. It's very easy, but we're going to kind of go through each kind of question and show you what you can do. And you can always change them at any time. You can start with a text question and go towards a multiple choice. But in this case, we'll start off with a text question. So we're going to click text answer. We're going to pick our score. So we're going to say 10 points. And then we're going to hit the little plus symbol. And what that does is it creates on the left here on the timeline a placeholder question with a result just directly below it. So as you can see, placeholder, results, there's the start time on here, the end time here. Prompts and results have a set amount of time that they can be. You can have a prompt be a what I call a paused prompt that will basically pause the video until your timer runs out for how long you give your players a time to answer. Or it can be a live prompt, and what that does is basically they'll get a prompt on screen for the duration that you set it to, and they have to answer within that time frame. You can also have a live pause, which is basically you will say your start time of, in this case, 1:23, and then we're going to say, let's say we want to have the question on screen for till 1:58. So if I click on my prompt, there's a little button here that says set guessing end time, and also set guessing start time. This is how I can modify what the start and end times are by just scrubbing to where I want them to be, and then I click those buttons. By setting a guessing end time, you'll notice up here now that between 1:23 and 1:58, it's going to show the prompt, the question, and then there's a little pause button, the pause icon, and a little toggle. This gives you the option to have it where at the guessing end time, you can have it then pause and then further give your audience a chance to to answer the question. So it's up to you. You can have it be something that is they have to answer within the time frame and it kind of plays automatically, or you can have it pause where you give them kind of both chances to. I find that it works better to give them the pause at the end, but also, you know, have it the full, like give it a time to see the prompt on screen as the host is asking the question. It kind of gives it a little bit more of a polish, I would find. Now you'll notice over here we have some those icons. We have the delete icon. This will delete the prompt and its corresponding results, which in this case you'll see it's right below here. This is question number 1 and this is result number 1. That's why it's 1 and R1. Makes it a little bit easier to keep track of what is what. If you want to, if you had a lot of questions and you weren't sure where the result was, this button here will open the opposite. So if I click on the open parent prompt, it will open the parent of the result, and vice versa. If I'm on the result and I want to know if I'm on the prompt and I want to open its result, I click on this and it'll open the result form. These little fast forward buttons lets you skip to the part of the video that represents the start and end time. So if I push it once, I will automatically go to the beginning where the prompt would be visible on screen. And if I push it again, it will bring me to where the prompt would stop. This works with results as well. So I can click here and see where the results would start playing by just clicking on these buttons. And then this one here is the duplicate button. There's two ways to duplicate an existing prompt, and it's pretty useful when you have a lot of the same prompts. One is, again, you kind of push this button right here next to the prompt you want to duplicate, and what that will do is it will put it directly below the current prompt. I'm leaving the option in, but I don't particularly use it very often because I find that having it just directly below where you're currently working is not very, it's kind of tricky. So some people prefer to put all the prompts down and then manipulate where they are on the timeline. Others like to put the prompts at the timelines. I'm the latter. In this case, what I can also do to duplicate a prompt is if I have it selected, so I have it here and you'll see all the icons over here show up, there are new ones. So like I said, set guessing start time. That's when the prompt will start appearing on screen. The end time is when it will disappear from screen. This removes the end time. So if you want to make it just be a prompt that instantly pauses the video, you can click that and it'll remove it from here and you'll see it up there. We're gonna go back and add it back to 158 just to be consistent. So I've added it back. Again, I can remove the pause if I want, but I'm gonna leave the pause. I find it works better. And then there's another button here, which is duplicate selected prompt. What that does is I can, instead of duplicating it and having it just pop directly below, I can go and find later on in the episode where I want to actually have that duplicated prompt. And if I have this selected and click that, it will automatically create a copy at that location. So as you can see now, I've got 1, R1, 2, R2. As I mentioned before, results do not have to appear sequentially after the prompt. You can put a results much further on. So, for example, if I want to have the results for R1 be at the end, let's say, I can go all the way to the end of my video and then say set results start time. And now you'll see it's 1, 2, R2, R1. So I can set the order that way. Now let's go back to the actual prompts themselves. So right off the bat, when you create a new prompt, it will give you the placeholder. You can say, in this case, what did we say the question was? It was who participated. So I just clicked this icon here to make it so I go to the beginning of the prompt, which I can then see on the screen. The question is who participated in a 4-way kiss. And then, like I said, there are multiple types of questions you can choose from. There's a text, a number, multiple choice, order, and tiered. Text is your player has to type in the answer. If it's a name of a person, you have to type in the name as close as possible as you can. We have a few little tools to make it a little bit easier, a little bit more fuzzy, or what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit more friendly in case you make a typo or you're not exactly sure if it's Christopher with an H or not. But you have to type in the answer. Number answer is something. It's useful for things like what year or how much money or how much does something cost, because it gives you the option to kind of give close answers or points for close answers. So let's say you're asking them to say what year the event happened, and they're off by 1 year, you can tweak and say, okay, well, they're not going to get 10 points, but they'll get 9 because they were pretty close. So that's the number answer. Multiple choice is straightforward. You're going to receive or see 4 prompts on the screen, and then the user on their device will be able to pick which prompt they think it is. Order will be you'll see multiple prompts on screen, and let's say movie titles, and then the users will have to, or players will have to, type in the order they think the movies were released in, let's say, using the numbers. So if you'll see 5 movies numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the users type in 4, 5, 1, 2, 3 as the order of the movies, and that's how they gauge those points. And then tiered answers is Family Feud style questions. So you'll get you can put in a prompt, you can put in a question, and then you can have multiple answers be true to the question, but give them specific points for each one. So, but for now, we'll start with just a text answer, and we'll go through all of them. But let's start with a text answer. You'll see up here, display answer optional. What this means is you could have the game show the answer be something that is not what had to be typed in. So if, for example, you wanted who participated in a 4-way kiss, and let's say it's Sam. So we say, all right, we're going to write Sam as an acceptable answer. But let's say his name is Samuel, so we're going to write Samuel as another acceptable answer, giving people a chance to do multiple things or multiple ways to get the correct answer. Or if you want to say his full name, you can also type there. So let's say Sam Reich. This means that every question or every one, if any of these 3 would be considered a correct answer. However, if you wanted to say that, the answer, you wanted the display answer to be his name is Sam, this will let you show that as the answer, but not count as something that a user would have to type in, or a player have to type in to get that. So that gives you a way to kind of fudge a little bit the actual output of the answer. So as you can see, we know we have a question, we have a text, we have assigned it 10 points. These are all the possible alternative answers they can put in for it to count. These can be used as means for clarification or like widening the possibilities. So sometimes it could be, or it could be for if there are technically multiple answers that could be correct, you could also put that here. So that gives you a little bit more flexibility. And then right below that, we have what I call the fuzzy compare percentage. What this does is that there's software in the tools that we've created here will look at this text the users type in and compare it to what are the possible answers, and then kind of give it a score as to how close they are. If you want the players to put in the exact punctuation, exact capital letters, exact spacing, exact everything, you would want to have this be set to 1. This means it has to be typed exactly as is. We put it at 80, and what that gives you is that it's going to be a little bit more lenient about the capital letters and spacing, and give you, a little bit more freedom. You can go even lower, down to 0.5, but then we're going to get into cases where if somebody's typing in an example of a movie like Lord of the Rings, the first Lord of the Rings movie, let's say Lord of the Rings 1, and then somebody puts in Lord of the Rings 2 and it counts it as the correct answer because we were kind of too loose with the possibility of the answer. So that's where we can control that. And then hide closed captioning and subtitles. This hasn't come up very often, but there's been a few times when you will get a question in a trivia, let's say, where you have to answer like, what is the name of this song, or what is the name of the sound or the creature that's making this sound, and YouTube will actually either the creators of the show or automatically YouTube will show in this closed captioning something like bear roar. therefore removing the ability to be able to guess the answer if you're playing with closed captioning on. So what this does is it lets you turn off closed captioning during the duration of this prompt, just so that you can have it on for the most part, but while you're trying to answer, so you can actually not have it spoiled to you. It's come up a few times in some of the videos that I've done, so I've added it here. So as I said, this is a text question, pretty straightforward. Each user or each player will then basically on their phone or computer type in what they think is the answer, and it's with these possible acceptable options. Also, you'll notice that most of these will have a little icon to give you a little description of what each do. If you find that any of these are not super descriptive, or you need some help, reach out to me on my Discord or on Blue Sky, and I can definitely help you out. And I'll update this video to kind of accommodate for that. The other kind of question is the number answer question. So the number answer is used to specifically for numbers. You can only type in numbers, but it also gives you the ability to be a little bit more lenient about how close you got to the answer. So if the question hypothetically was, what year was Sam born? We could have the answer be 1983. I don't know if that's true or not. And if somebody were to put in 1983, they would get the full 10 points. We can also have it be that how close they are to the number is how many points off they get. So what we'll do is we'll say that if for every 5 years they are off, they will lose 2 to 3 points. What that means is if somebody were to guess 1983, 84, 85, 86, all the way up to 89 or back, they would still count as 10 points. But after that, they would go down by 3 points, and then for the next 5 after that, it would be down by another 3 points. So it's useful for very large numbers, and you get to control the amount per step and per drop. Mainly things when you get to like millions and billions, you want to be able to kind of control that so that people can say, oh, it's 1.5 million, it's not 1.4 million, and still get close answers. You would be able to manipulate that here. Or if you don't want any at all, you can basically just say no, 0 to the, not 0, not 0. Sorry, not, it is the full drop. What that does is, anything other than the correct answer, you lose all the points. There is no close answers for this one. Another way you can do it is if you want to have a number answer that is finite, there's no way around it, you can use a text answer as well. That works too. But number answers are useful for that if you're trying to estimate or get close by that, and it gives you a variable score. You'll also notice below that high close captions and subtitles is also there. So those are number questions. Multiple choice will give you, similar to the acceptable answer option, you basically type in each one. So what year was he born? Let's say do it 1983. Let's do 1984, 1987, and 2027. You can put in as many as you want. Theoretically, eventually it'll kind of fill up the screen, so you don't want to go too far. 4 or 5 is about right. And then below that, you'll get the option to pick what is the correct answer. We'll just say it's 1983. And that's pretty much it for the multiple choice questions. After that, we have order. Now, order, you'll notice that the information is still there. It uses the same kind of fields, but in a different kind of logic. So as I said earlier, 1, 2, 3, 4 are the 4 options for your order. And in this case, what we're going to want it to be is, let's say the question is, order these years by year. I don't know. And so the answer for this would be 1, 2, 3. Oops, my unlock is off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. If we were to, let's say, move 1987 and 2027 like this, the answer would then be 1, 2, 4, 3. This is a quick and easy way of being able to create an ordering system for your questions. And then the last one, which is the most complicated and the newest one I've added, so I can definitely see being issues coming up, is the tiered answer. Again, Family Feud style questions. You will again get the fuzzy compare logic option here, since these answers will be typed in. Obviously in Family Feud shows, somebody verbally says the answer, and then somebody in the and producers of the show will then determine whether they're close enough or correct, and so on. We don't have that idea, but we have the ability to kind of give, fuzzy options. What we can also do is add multiple acceptable answers to each of the tiered answers. That's a mouthful. But let's show you what I mean. Let's add, let's say this was a Family Feud style question. Let's do funniest dropout show. Dropout show. And then we're going to say, okay, well, we're going to give 3 tiered answers. We are going to say the first one is going to be worth 50 points. And we're going to say the first one is actually, let's say. And then again, just to be safe, let's say we do actually with ... as a possible alternative option. The second one, let's say, is dirty laundry. So we'll say dirty laundry. And we'll make that one 30 points. And then let's do game changers. Game changer. And then, you know what? Since people tend to make that mistake, we're going to put game changers too with an S at the end. And then again, we'll make that one 20 points. So now when the prompt comes up and the players type in their answers, they will get scored on which of the 3 they got that they typed in. Unlike Family Feud, where you'll get to type in each one and try to guess how many points each one is. This is like a one shot that you get to see, but then you get to see at the end if you've got the best answer. Now, that's the last of the questions. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how the results work. I showed it to you a little earlier for one of the other questions. So let me go to this placeholder question here, and I'm going to go to its results. So this is placeholder copy. I'm going to go to the click that button, and it's going to bring me to where the result is, or where the result would appear on the timeline. And if I actually select this result, you'll see that it has a little drop down. It says full result, answer, top guess, and current total, or quick result, just show the answer. The reason we have the differentiation between the two is sometimes the questions are coming in so fast that there's not enough time to show the answer to the prompt, who got the best results for that prompt, and then the current new total, like the ranking for everybody playing the game. And so when you have that time, you can pick that option. And what you'll see is it's about 21 seconds for a full result. It's basically 20 seconds. And you'll see that if I go to this location, I don't get to pick how long it is. If I go to this location, I set that as my start results time. So let's say I want to move it over a few seconds. So I'm going to click it there. You'll see that my start result time is 11:38, and it will end at 11:59, and that will give time to show all 3. Now, if I don't have, or if there's not enough time between the two, I can do what's called a quick result. A quick result, if I click that, you'll notice that it's only 6 seconds. All it's showing is the answer. So you're not going to find out who got who had the best round, or like who guessed the best, or who guessed it correctly, and you're not going to see a total score after that. This is for like back-to-back fast questions. When you have a quick result, it kind of accumulates the points and scores for all the quick results in a row until the next full results. So if I had a quick result, and then another quick result, and another quick result, and then finally a full result, the full result will then show, that for the last 4 questions, these were the best players, the highest scores for those players, and then show the new total based off of that. So you can still get like you can kind of have a lightning round where no one sees their scores until you get back to a full result. And again, you can change them by finding in the timeline where you want and then hitting the results button. Now, let's say I make a mistake and I accidentally, by highlighting this and having it selected, I go to 1 minute 48, let's say, and I say, okay, this is where I want my result. Then you're going to notice that there's an error. First off, you can't have results to a question be before the question. So right off the bat, you're going to see there's a big red text here to explain, hey, this is in the wrong order. Really straightforward way to put it back on is I would click to my little fast forward button to the results I want, and then I will, maybe skip forward a few seconds, and then again set result time, and it'll bring it back down. The system is smart enough to see when there's an overlap, and highlight it in red when you have an overlap. Quick results can have a bit of overlap on top of each other. I get sometimes there's maybe only a 2 seconds or 3 seconds. Those are okay, but you can't really have an overlap of like prompts. You need to have the full prompt time to itself to be able to work properly. So you can always tell that there's an issue when something is highlighted in red on the screen, and it's just a matter of going and finding where you want to put it back on the timeline. These are super helpful to find out where you need to be, and then the buttons down there to change it. That being said, there is another kind of result type, which is not one that you get to pick like these ones here. It is the tiered result type. The tiered result type, because there's one question and multiple results, it's all tied within the actual results. So the way this one works is you don't get to pick your start and end time. You basically pick the start time of each of the individual results. So if you were doing a Family Feud style game and somebody guessed the 28-point answer first, you just go to that location where they have answered or confirmed what one of the answers are, and then you click the start button. It will autofill where it can, just so that there's always an answer there. There's always a time there based on when the results would start, let's say. But as you fill in the rest, it will kind of automatically calculate itself. One stipulation to results for tiered answers is that you cannot have results for a tiered answer be at the beginning, have two of the results of one prompt be at the beginning and then at the end. You can't separate them. They have to at least be sequentially between them. So I'm going to say this was the 20-point answer. I'm going to do the 30-point answer and then the 50-point answer. And as you see, now that I filled them all in, it automatically accommodated the start and end time to fit the start and end time that this is set for. So you can't be... You have to basically pick each prompt's results as opposed to the results as a whole. A little bit more complicated this way, but this is kind of the best way to have it work. Yeah, this is the easiest way that I could find. I'm open to more suggestions if people have any ideas, but this has been the easiest way for the system to not kind of have a lot of overlap. When you are done, you have a couple of options. You can hit export, and when you do, in the top right corner, you'll see, or if you're in Chrome, you'll see that you've downloaded a JSON file. A JSON file, JSON file, can then be imported. You click the import button. And you're not seeing it here, but the prompt will come up and you can import that file. That is basically the easiest way to save your work, back it up if anything were to happen. And then the other option is you then click on Play Episode. Play Episode is going to open up a new browser. It's going to fill in all the information on the left. It's going to give you automatically pick your thumbnail, and then you can click on Start Show to actually test it out. When you're in debug mode, there's a few little things that are different than playing on the live. When you skip forward to the next prompt or result, it skips right to that. There's not a kind of 5-second runway to get to that location, so it's a little bit faster to debug. But otherwise, it's an actual episode that you can play. I'm just going to lower the volume just to make sure. This is the volume for the actual video up here. This is any kind of background music if you had set it in the video tab. We're just going to turn that off for now so you can show. And then now my window is a little bit small for the recording, but now you can basically click on next question, and it'll bring you to that prompt and show you the actual prompt that you created. What you can do, I'm just going to hit refresh so we bring it back to the beginning. I have also included up here what they call a guessing screen. It's kind of like the equivalent of having your player or you playing on your phone, but on screen. It makes it a lot easier to debug. I'm just going to put dev as the name, which is the default name for debug. Just makes it easier and faster. And if I were to go and hit start show, oops, let's lower that volume real quick. You'll notice that if I skip forward to the question, it gives me a chance to actually type in that question. Due to the size that I'm recording, it's got a little bit overlapped, but you can change this when you normally play it on full screen. You'll be able to actually control it, and then basically you can play out a whole episode on your own here as to kind of test everything out. When you are done, you just close the tab, and your original tab will still be there. Anytime you make any change or play a debug episode or anything, it saves to your local storage on your browser. So there's always a copy being saved. So if I were to actually, close this window and then go back to it, it will automatically pull it from the memory of your browser and bring it back to exactly where it was. So there's a little bit of of a leeway for safety in case you lose your files, but the best thing to do is to then to actually export it out. Once you export it out, you can actually go to the main location, the main player of Reactivities, and you play along, and then you'll have a little option up here to import episode. This is where you can import your file, and if you want to play with just friends, or you can send it to a friend and they can import it here. From these options, you can also control things like, is it automated or host controlled? Automated means that you are setting a guessing time. So every time it pauses to let your player guess, you say, you have 30 seconds. Or you can switch it to host controlled, which means that the person that has the browser open that's running this browser window will have to push next prompt or continue to actually go on to the next phase. So you are dictating the speed of the event. There's also guessing time delay. Guessing time delay is if you are using something like Twitch to stream one of these episodes, and there's about a 5-second delay. You want your users to see on screen that when the countdown timer says 5 seconds, it's actually not. It's 5 seconds, not 0. So by setting a delay, you'll notice that the timer is always going to be 5 seconds behind on your screen, but your players and your voting. Your audience will kind of have it a bit more matched up. This is a way to do the time delay is useful for streaming. However, you can also kind of bypass the need for that by switching it to host controlled, since host controls you are the one to dictate how fast it goes, and you can give your audience a heads up saying, hey, 3 seconds and we're going on to the next question. And that's basically it. The builder is, again, in beta. I've just pushed Playalong sort of live to my 1.0. Feel free to play around with it. Reach out to me on my Discord. I am super susceptible. I'm super open to feedback and ideas, and I love making shows for people to play, but I'm only aware of so much content and what's available, but I'm also much prefer making the tools for people to make other things. So if you come up with a great episode of Kind of Funny, Arcade Pit, Dirty Laundry, or any other streamers or any other content creators that you can think of, reach out to me on Discord, send me the file. I can review it, test it out, see if it works, and I can add it here, and I'll even be able to credit you as one of the creators. Moving forward, I have ideas of having more of a system to be able to log in and post your own and save to your database. Databases can be a little bit tricky, and so right now I'm doing it more of a save to file sort of location, but in the future we're going to have more features coming soon. So yeah, that's kind of it. That's the Playalong builder. Thanks for trying it out. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Blue Sky, Discord, LinkedIn, YouTube, anything. And I can't wait to see what you guys create. Thanks.